Thank you so much, Mohammed, for coming and giving me your time.
It is a pleasure to be with you here today.
Thank you. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born, and where did you spend your childhood years?
My name is Mohammed Naseehu Ali. I was born and raised in Kumasi, which is the capital of the Ashanti region in Ghana. And I grew up in a community called the Zongo. The Zongo is pretty much the community where Hausa people who have migrated from northern Nigeria, they have spread all over West Africa. So wherever they find themselves, they call the place Zongo. And Zongo in Hausa means camp. It's pretty much an encampment for Hausa travelers. So I grew up in the Zongo community of Kumasi, which is where I lived until I moved to the United States to study in 1988.
So Zongo is it a melting pot for all the people who move from other nations as
E-
the migrating people?
Yes, even though houses are the original settlers in Zongo, in every Zongo that you go to, eventually they attract other non-houses who are Muslims. For instance, in Kumasi Zongo, you have people from the northern part of Ghana, Dagombas, Kusasi, Frafras. You have people from Niger, people from Mali, people from Burkina Faso, right, who are Muslims. But most of them, when they migrate to Ghana, they always come to the Zongo, which is pretty much the melting pot of
Okay.
all the Muslims
All right. Okay.
in Ghana. Yes.
I was curious about Kumasi, so looked up Kumasi on YouTube, and it seems like a very prosperous town, big houses, beautiful, like tall buildings, malls. Has has Kumasi changed over the years? Since because you left in 1989, but now it's 2024. Do you see a vast difference between the Kumasi of your years and Kumasi of now?
In a way, in some ways, yes, of course, because things have been modernized now. You see, like a lot of big buildings. I mean, Kumasi, by the way, being the headquarters or being the capital of the Ashanti region is known for its gold, right? Uh, Whatever you dig in that region, you're going to find gold eventually. So it's a very, very rich, prosperous city. It's pretty much the most prosperous city in Ghana. So in terms of change, yes, it has changed. It's been modernized, a lot of beautiful buildings. But at the same time, I can tell you the Kumasi I grew up in is 10 times more beautiful than the Kumasi that I see today.
Oh,
And
very
the
interesting.
reason why is because the former president of Ghana, the founder of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, had this idea to create what he back then we called the Garden City of West Africa.
Oh
Kumasi
wow.
was so beautiful with the hills, the gardens, the parks, and everything. You go back to Kumasi today, all of these parks that when I was young, we used to just go and play with goldfishes in the pond, they're all dead. Those parks, we pretty much don't have public parks now in Kumasi.
So what have they done to those parks? Built some buildings on it?
Yeah, they have just encroached upon it and built stalls, stores and stalls. Market people have taken over. And it's really not as beautiful as Kumasi used to be. Kumasi used to be like a really gorgeous, like, environmental, like beautiful place.
So Kumasi of your time doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I mean, it's and it's also one thing about Kumasi is it's like in the navel of the country, right? Even though not directly in the center, but people from the north, people from Niger, Mali, Burkina, all the traders, that's where they come. So it's a city that is always dense. It has a very dense population all the time. It was like that when I was growing up. It's still like that. It's even denser right now in Kumasi.
You just came back from Ghana, right?
I just came back after a 2.5 month stay.
And you went back to Kumasi?
I I have a very interesting relationship with Kumasi. I once wrote a piece about my love love/hate relationship with my own city of birth. Um, I can't live there.
Because it is not the same place anymore, right?
It's not because of that. I don't know. Maybe it's because of some of the stories that I read, that I write now of the place. Um, I have an uncomfortable. As a child, I grew up in a Muslim community, right? And the Ali house, my last name Ali, my grandfather was not only an imam, like a highly respectable imam, he was also very wealthy, who was, in our family, he was the first emir of the Hausa people from our family. So my house is a house of knowledge as well. The madrasa is part of our house. But even as a kid, I had so many questions. I got into a lot of trouble because I was very, very curious about a lot of things. Uh, I'm still a practicing Muslim. Yes, I am raising my kids as Muslims. And yet I had like a lot of questions that got me into a lot of uncomfortable situations. And even as a child, I just felt as if Kumasi was not for me. So as much as I love that city, I love going back because my family, my siblings, they all live there, and we have a whole clan back in Kumasi. Thousands and thousands of the Ali clan. So I have this relationship with that city. And recently, yes, I went back, but I went back twice. Mostly, I was in Accra, where I mostly like live when I go back home, and then I'll go to Kumasi and spend 2 3 days, tops 4 days, and
So
be out of there.
so you already told me the love part, why you love Kumasi. What was the hate part? Like, why do you not like Kumasi anymore?
One of the reasons why is because we are so known, like the family and my father, because my father also was the king, was the emir, between 1988, right? I think my father was an emir, for 10 years, as well, for 11 years before his passing. So when I go to Kumasi, everybody knows me. So that's the part that I do hate. I feel like exposed. I feel like I'm exposed when I go back to my town, my city of birth. As
So
much as
you cannot walk around like nobody.
no, I can't. Accra, I can do that. I can stay in my hiding place in Accra. Nobody knows who I am, unless if I, go to the city center where all these creatives and artists like hang out. But in Kumasi, as soon as I step out, everybody knows who you are, and there's a level of discomfort for me. Honestly.
Understandable. Yeah. So when you came to America at the age of 17, right? You went to school for
I went to
art.
Interlaken Arts Academy, which
Right.
is located in northern Michigan.
Did you move with your parents or alone?
No, 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 no. They put me on a plane and shipped me from a
Okay.
from a very hot temperate weather, and I will never forget this day. I arrived in northern Michigan in Interlaken in October 15th, and we're talking northern Michigan where it gets very cold.
Is it Upper Peninsula area?
Just
UP?
before the UP is below the UP.
Because I lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and it was very cold there
Oh
also.
yes, yes. So I arrived October 15th, and I will never forget. I didn't prepare. My parents didn't buy me any coats, jackets, or anything. And within a week, it started snowing that year, and the rest is history. But I got used to it,
Right,
to
right,
the
right.
point where I love winters now. I'm always unhappy now in New York City because we don't used to have the winters that we used to have with a
Right.
lot of snow. I love the snow. I love the winters because as a writer and living in New York City, when there's snow, it just calms down everything.
Right, right,
The
right,
city becomes so quiet, and I love it. I
right,
love
right,
that.
right. So, what other education did you get after Michigan in America?
After Michigan, I went to Bennington College. which is an amazing school for writing. It has
Mm.
produced a lot of very important American writers, from Donna Tartt to Easton Ellis,
Right.
a lot to just a lot of amazing American writers. So I went there for 4 years, uh,
Hmm.
and then after that I moved to New York City.
Hmm.
But one thing you should also know about me
Right.
is I'm also a musician.
I did not know that. What do you play or sing?
I play the drums, and I sing, and I write original music. Actually, my kind of foolish idea when I graduated from college in 1995 and moved to New York City was because I had a band called Fatima.
Hmm.
It was an Afro jazz band. I wrote all the original music for that band.
Hmm.
So I was hoping I would do very well in music and
Mm.
then use the music to sponsor my writing.
Right.
So most friends knew me back then as a musician, not as a writer. Some,
Hmm.
yes, some do know that, knew that I was a writer as well. But what I was actively doing in the city was music. I was
All right.
playing gigs in the Lower East Side,
Hmm.
with my band, and but then, of course, reality caught up with me. I realized I could not like just live the life of an artist
Hmm.
without a job. So eventually, I got a job with a law publishing firm,
Hmm.
LexisNexis,
Hmm.
and I worked with them for many, many, many years.
As what were you doing there?
I was working in editorial
Okay.
uh, at the place.
So you
Um,
still do that or no?
oh, no, no, no! I quit. I quit
Okay.
as, the day I got the phone call from my attorney
Mm.
that I was given the Einstein visa.
Mm.
That day I quit.
Einstein visa was. What does that mean?
Is the EB1 is a visa that you are pretty much given citizenship based on your contribution to it could be in the field of science, it
Mm.
could be in the field of like arts, athletics,
Mm.
you name it. It is called Einstein visa because it was the type of visa that was given to Einstein. So
Oh,
that's what
right.
we call it. Yeah, it's very, very, very difficult to be able to convince
Hmm.
immigration to get that, but somehow my lawyer convinced me I have enough credentials to get that. So I quit my job the day that
Mm.
I discovered that.
So you
And
must be a citizen now, right?
oh, I've been a citizen, yes, for a
For a
while now.
while, right? So your writing life, you write now. You write short stories. Your work is published in many prestigious magazines. Do your folks, your family, your friends from Ghana, your community, see you as a successful person, or do they think writing is not a career and you should be a doctor or engineer? What and do you get that from them sometimes?
They see me as a very successful person because I teach at NYU.
Oh, okay, okay. Not because you're a writer, right?
Because anyone that you tell you teach at NYU, sometimes they go, "What? NYU?"
Right.
I say, "Yes, I do teach. I've been teaching there for the past 13 years." But they also see me as successful, as a writer because sometimes they'll see me in interviews or they'll hear me on the radio, Voice of America on interviews and
Right.
all that. So yeah, they see me as successful. I would say yes.
Right. Very nice. So you, after living here for like almost 35 years, that
Uh-huh.
you still have your country's accent. Do you feel you have become American in any way?
I don't know. I'm proud of like definitely having an accent,
Hmm.
and of course, I don't think. I think if you are not born in this country, unless
Hmm.
if you are born here, I mean, my kids, none of them have my accent. But
Right.
if you are born somewhere and actually you developed, your linguistic, like abilities at that age, when you come, I think it's going to be very, very hard for you to completely like make a switch for you to
Right.
just like speak like an American. No
Correct.
matter what, you're going to have like, some residual, like
Right.
accent,
Right. Right.
sprinkling through your
Hmm.
your communication or the way you speak. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
I asked, do you still feel a person from Ghana, or do you feel like you're an American?
I am both.
You're both.
Yes, I'm both. I mean, I love America. I love the opportunity that it gave me to become what I have become. If I had stayed in Ghana, I don't think I would have become a writer. And writing was not something that I got up one day and I said I'm going to be a writer. Nope. I always tell my students every semester, I say, if I could get up one day and say, I'm not doing this, I'm quitting, I would do it.
Right.
But you can't. Even I read a lot when I was young. And I remember at like everything or anything that happened when I was young, I go to the football park, I get into a fight with someone, something didn't go well, I'll come back home, I'll write it. Back when I didn't even know what writing was, I was documenting things.
Right. But that is also writing, though.
Exactly. So it's something that I guess that is what I came with. Right. But of course, I mean, it's one thing and I'm not saying I have that talent. I have that urge. That's what I had. I've always had the urge to document stories. If you look at stories of Zongo Street, the stories that I recently published in the New Yorker, it's all really documenting stories of my people, things that happen in the community.
Right.
I've always had that urge.
You're also giving those people a life again in your book.
Exactly, a voice.
Right,
A voice.
a voice.
Actually, based on that,
Yeah.
when I was the first editor who gave me the book deal, when she asked me a very important question: why do you write?
Wow.
And my answer, I remember very, very clearly. I told her, I want to write so that I can document the stories of my people. Because in Ghana right now, even though my ancestors have been living in Ghana for over 150 years,
Right.
we are still considered non-Ghanaians.
Wow.
Yes, it's a very touchy issue.
Where do they think you're from then?
They came from, back then it was Zamfara land,
Okay.
before modern Nigeria.
Okay.
So which is now Sokoto state in northern Nigeria. So they migrated to Ghana, and they've been there. Some even claim over 200 years.
Wow.
We've been in Ghana for a very long time, long before Ghana was conceived. And yet to this day, because we are landless in Ghana, when the British left and they created the regions in Ghana, Hausa people didn't want a region because they had it in their heads that they're going to go back to where they came from.
Right.
And they never went back, of course. So we are landless in Ghana. And because of that, they still consider us, after all these years, that we are non-Ghanaians.
Right. So you are documenting the lives, as your editor asked, why do you write? You're documenting the lives of your people, right?
So that
yeah.
nobody is going to tell us down the line that we are not Ghanaians.
Right.
And also, if after whatever we have right now, this world, this universe, thousands of years to come, when something happens and we are no longer here, when the earth is dug and a hard drive is found somewhere, because unlike the ancient times, we see calligraphy, right? We see artwork, we see the tombs, we see relics of the past that educate us about what took place. The modern one is not going to be that. It's going to be hard drives.
Right. I'm sure.
When a hard drive is found somewhere, I would like a story of the Zongo people to be in those hard drives.
Wow. What a beautiful way to say this. Thank you. So my next question is, you've lived here for 35 years. Do you have stories to tell from the United States? You must have found some interesting people here too, right?
Yes.
Are you working on anything, or do you have
Yes,
plans?
I just finished my first novel and my second collection of short stories. Both of them, by the way, are with my agent, and we're trying to place them. So I have another collection of short stories based on Zango Street, some of them also based here in the United States.
Very nice.
But the novel is about a Ghanaian who moves to the United States. So it is something that took place here in New York City.
So it is told from the point of view of a Ghanaian person in America.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, very
Exactly.
nice, very interesting. Who are your favorite writers? Who do you like? I don't know you,
Before you
especially
finish,
V.S.
VS
Naipaul.
Naipaul, before you finish, I'll just say
V.S. Naipaul's which
VS
one?
Naipaul,
Which book of V.S. Naipaul's?
VS Naipaul. I was heavily influenced by his, the only short story he wrote was called Miguel Street.
Miguel Street.
I read that in high school and I was blown away. I read that book and something told me, this is like Zongo. This is like Zongo. That's
That
how,
inspired you, right?
completely, completely.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I actually am very
Him,
inspired by.
him, V.S. Naipaul and Isaac Bashevis Singer. The singer has this story called the Spinoza of Market Street.
Right.
So it's a combination of the Spinoza's short story that I read. Sorry, Isaac Bashevis Singer's short story, The Spinoza of Market Street, and V.S. Naipaul's Miguel Street. That's how, back in high school, when I read those, I started the collection of The Prophet of Zango Street when I was in high school.
So that sowed the seeds of your writing, right?
Yep.
Wow,
Yep.
beautiful.
Those two are heavy. They're beautiful storytellers.
Right.
I mean, my favorite V.S. Naipaul's book, apart from Miguel Street, is A Bend in the River.
Ben in the River, I've read it. I've read
You've
it.
read it. Incredible.
Yeah, I've read it.
Incredible.
It's very beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, he goes to a place, hangs out for a little bit, and then
Right.
he writes as if he's lived there forever.
Right. Right. That's what writers do,
Naipaul.
right?
That's Naipaul for you.
Right.
No, heavily influenced by V.S. Naipaul and Isaac
Wow.
Bashevis Singer, for sure.
Wow.
Those two.
Thank you so much.
And
Um,
of course, Dostoevsky.
yeah, that's just give. Yep.
To go back to what I said earlier, what I teach my students to keep their pulse, right? To keep their fingers on the pulse of the community, or their characters. That's what Dostoevsky does amazingly.
Which one of his books do you like most?
Crime and Punishment. You
Crime and
read Crime
Punishment.
and Punishment,
Right.
like, I think his name, if I'm not mistaken, Raskolnikov.
Yep. Correct. Yeah.
Raskolnikov, you feel his heartbeat
Right.
as he moved through St. Petersburg. I mean, that's how amazing Dostoevsky is in, like, really keeping his finger on the pulse of his characters. Like, you really know, you have a feeling of what they feel, like you feel it alongside with them. So of course, so V.S. Naipaul, Isaac Bashevis Singer, and of course Dostoevsky.
Right. Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Mohammed, for talking to me. It was wonderful, and for your time. And I did not know that you're also a musician, so thanks for telling me that also.
It was really nice talking to you, Deepak, and I appreciate you giving me this chance to, to just chat.